we got an awesome episode for you.
Hi, and welcome to Variant Edition, your first weekly video podcast show covering everything in the comic book world. I'm Ricky.
And I'm Mike.
So this is our week back from Baltimore. So it's not going to be that long of an episode. We have so much editing and footage to look over. I mean, it's just hours and hours of work. So we
literally 1,000 hours worth of footage. That's right, we had 80 million cameras going at one time, each with approximately 15 minutes of camera tape, also known as mini DV cassettes. At any I have no idea what I'm talking about. Anyway,
while we were down there, we had some great interviews. Michael Turner, Olivier Coipel. I mean, we covered some of the biggest names in comics.
And some that weren't, including my doctor from the rehabilitation clinic, so I'm off the coke.
So anyway, this is going to be a short episode because Mike has to go back to his rehabilitation center. It's very obvious he's still on the coke.
It's just meetings.
So, we're going to shoot over the Nick with the news.
You have a number for your dealer?
It's coming up, hold on. Okay.
Hi, I'm Nick, and we're back from Baltimore. And like Mike and Ricky said, since we've got so much work still to do, that can only mean more show goodies. But the news this week is going to be kind of quick. Actually, this whole episode is going to be kind of quick. But here is the news for the week of Wednesday, September 20th. So last week in Baltimore, we filled you in on the highlights of the Harvey Awards winners. For a full list, check out harveyawards.org, or keep an eye out on our website. Kevin's busy producing a video of the award show. You can see everyone who did and didn't show up. But that wasn't the only news to come out of Baltimore. Every year, Diamond Comic Distributors holds a retailer conference following the con. This year did not disappoint, with lots of news to come from the major publishers. First off, Marvel announced that Joss Whedon and Michael Ryan would be replacing Brian K. Vaughan and Adrian Alfano on The Runaways with issue 25. Seems to be a perfect fit for Whedon after his run on Astonishing X-Men wraps up with issue 25 of that title. And C.B. Cebulski is set to pen a spin-off title called The Loners. In further news, Marvel hopes to expand its bookstore presence with a new line of classic illustrated adaptations of classic novels. Marvel hasn't released a full list of what novels may be adapted, but they have released an image of the upcoming Last of the Mohicans by Roy Thomas. J. Michael Straczynski will be writing the new ongoing Thor series, set to start following the events of Civil War. In perhaps the oddest news to come out of Marvel in a long time, Marvel is crossing over with The Guiding Light. Yeah, the CBS soap opera Guiding Light. According to Marvel, the Mighty Avengers will visit the fictional city of Springfield. No, not that Springfield. And try to determine if a new superpowered character is friend or foe. The 8-page story, written by Jim McCann, with art by Alex Chung, will appear in a number of Marvel comics. Yeah, probably the weirdest news story I've yet to report. John Romita Jr. will return to The Incredible Hulk. Following up the currently running Planet Hulk, Romita Jr. will join writer Greg Pak for World War Hulk, expected to be next summer's big blockbuster story. A new Nova ongoing series will be launched out of the universe spanning the Annihilation series next year. Set to be written by Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, an artist has yet to be announced. Also expect to see a Herald series of specials featuring, you guessed it, Heralds of Galactus. And lastly, 2 bits of Spider-Man news. Sean McKeever will be writing a new title, Spider-Man Family, featuring stories from the past, present, and future of Spider-Man. And in a tease, expect the black costume to return, but in what form, we're not too sure. In another type of Marvel crossover news, Marvel has announced that it has entered into a partnership with Dable Brothers Productions to adapt novels into comics and graphic novels. The news comes after a few months of speculation of what exactly was going on with the Dable Brothers after their self-publishing efforts seemed to disappear. Marvel has signed on as the exclusive publisher for Dable Brothers, obtaining the marketing, print, and distribution rights. The Dable Brothers will remain independent. Dable Brothers' biggest project so far will also be its first with Marvel. Anita Blake, Vampire Hunter, is based on the best-selling novel series by Laurel K. Hamilton. For more info on Hamilton's work, check out Jen's review in our summer reading special. Not to be left out, DC Comics also had some announcements. DC plans to expand its showcase line in 2007 with a 2-volume showcase collection featuring all the original 26 issues of the Who's Who, the definitive directory of the DC Universe. Expect Jack Kirby to get some more exposure with the New Gods Omnibus. Featuring the entire run of the New Gods and the Hunger Dogs, the hardcover, possibly 4-volume omnibus will be the definitive collection of Jack Kirby's New Gods work. Alan Moore and Kevin O'Neill's The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, The Black Dossier, graphic novel originally set for October release, has been delayed until sometime in 2007. And set to coincide with the reboot of Jim Lee's Wildcats. Expect an absolute Wildcats in 2007. Unlike many actors who profess an undying love for comics after scoring their latest role in a comic-based film, Heath Ledger, who is set to star as the Joker in the upcoming Dark Knight, has gone on record that he hates comic book movies. According to Comics to Film, Heath said, "I actually hate comic book movies. Like, f***ing hate them. They just bore me shitless, and they're just dumb. But I thought what Chris Nolan did with Batman was actually really good. Really well directed, and Christian Bale was really great in it." Chalk one up for honesty. After 5 years of serving many deserving men and women within the comics industry, Actor, a commitment to our roots, comic fund is changing its name. The new name, the Hero Initiative, complete with new logo, will open its doors to operate in all markets, both comic fans and general consumers alike, in its mission to raise funds to deliver assistance to comic book creators in need. The name change will enable the organization to dissolve the barriers that were getting in its way to help build this momentum while boosting its ongoing evolution and outreach to broader audiences. The Hero Initiative can be contacted through its new website and email addresses. And finally, some quickies. Dynamite has reported that the Lone Ranger #1 has sold out. A second printing with a new cover is forthcoming. Remind you, this is the first time that Dynamite has sent any title back to press. Top Shelf has announced that Lost Girls, the controversial new graphic novel by Alan Moore and Melinda Gebbie, has sold out of its second printing of 10,000. A third printing is planned and should shelf by December. And just so you don't forget, Wasteland, the current Oni ongoing that fans of Variant Edition should be very familiar with, will be skipping a month. Despite Wasteland's ongoing nature, there was no new issue offered for this coming November, but fans shouldn't fret, because this is a planned skip month, and the series will be back in December with issue number 5. Check out episode 27 for Kevin's interview with writer Anthony Johnston. In further movie news, according to an interview with Newsarama, James McAvoy, set to star as lead Wesley in the upcoming Wanted adaptation, didn't choose to do the film because he is a fan of the comic, but because he's a fan of sci-fi, and director Timur Bekmambetov. Wow, more honesty. Maybe comic book fans see comic book films because they like the stories, not because the stars or directors are pandering to them. But perhaps troubling to those same fans was this line: "It is less about superheroes and more about the empowerment of lives and how Wesley does all this amazing stuff, and people tell him he is a supervillain. But he knows he doesn't have superpowers, so he does it through belief." Well, we'll reserve our judgment until it's at least made. Well, that's it for the news this week, but I'd like to take time to thank everyone that didn't run away from an interview with me. My self-esteem thanks you. So I'll see you later, and up next is Kevin with his special segment.
So a few months ago, I started a new segment that I was calling the Advanced Review, where I took a book that was in previews, did a full review of it, and, said whether or not to get it. Basically, all we've done so far is Wasteland. I've got a few books from this new previews that I'd like to talk about. I haven't done a full review of them, but I figured they kind of intrigued me, so it would be worth, telling everybody what they should check it out. It's all started because I got the new Josh Howard, Mosh Girls and Monsters, art book. And we don't normally do art books or that kind of reviews, and it made me, think, oh, he's got a new book coming out. He's got a new Dead at 17 book coming out, and he's got the Lost Books of Eve coming out. And I believe it's in the new previews. You should check it out. He's got a really cool art style. You can definitely tell he started with a Bruce Timm influence, but he's definitely morphed, grown into his own stuff. It's very, very cool stuff. So if you're not checking it out, take a look. The next thing is Ivan Brandon's partner, Andy McDonald. He's doing a graphic novel with Jeff Amano, Red Warrior. Assassin for the Thieves World. Yeah. It's actually really cool. It's cool. Everyone's probably used to seeing his art, from NYC Mech. He's got that robot style going. He can draw people, too. You should definitely check this out. This definitely is in the new previews. I would say give it a buy. And then to wrap up, our friends at Archaea Studio Press are putting out a very cool book called The Killer. I got to see a few pages of this, and it, for lack of a better word, is awesome. It's appropriate here. It's about a hitman. It's I don't know, it just doesn't look like anything else is out there right now, and that seems to be something that Archaea Studio Press is really good at doing right now. And finally, to wrap up, it's not something that you can get in the new previews because he doesn't have, you know, he's not publishing this through Diamond or anything. But our good friend Scott Wegener, you've seen him on the show before. We've seen him at a couple different cons. And if you've ever seen him at a con and you haven't picked up his sketchbook, I don't know why. But you can pick it up on his website, and it's definitely worth it. This guy, he can draw. So, you know, so that wraps up our advanced reviews for this month. Not exactly the way we did it last time, but definitely some stuff for you to check out.
All right, so that's it for the show. It's a quickie this week. Sorry, you know. We have editing and stuff to do, and Kevin's crying about it.
And sometimes being quick and fast and to the point is a lot more enjoyable than taking your time and taking hours. But I have no idea what I'm talking about anymore.
See what rehab does to you, kids? Just keep doing it. You'll be better off. So anyway, coming weeks, we have interviews with Michael Turner, Ivan Brandon, and Michael Avon Oming. We have Eric Larson, Olivier Koipel,
George Perez.
Mike Hawthorne.
Mike Hawthorne.
Mike
See?
Hawthorne.
We have interviews from everywhere. So be on the lookout for all that stuff. Hit us up on MySpace. Hit us up on the website. Email us because we're awesome.
That's right. Awesome.
Awesome.
Awesome. One more time. Awesome.
Okay, so that's the end of the show. Thanks for tuning in. Stay awesome.
Wish I was.
All right.
I just have my hand on something, so
Whenever you guys are ready.
I'm ready. Ready?
yeah.
Okay.
Patience on.